Look at it. The Ottoman Empire. So united. So Turkish. So Tengri in 1444? Wait, what's that? Yeah, that in Alexandria. Wait, we're a vassal? So, Mehmet's ambition. A plan to rule the world before the 1500s. A worthy goal, but I don't believe he is ambitious enough. Or more specifically, I think he's holding back, trying to be realistic. Not a lack of ambition per se, but I think Mehmet is just not confident enough to pursue his real dreams. So let's help a dreamer achieve his goals, and make sure everyone in the world can dream big. This run occurs because I wanted to partake in a quote-unquote try-hard mega campaign, which I alluded to here, where I just want to try hard throughout the Paradox titles without regard for game balance or anything of that nature and seeing what I can achieve, combined with a desire to play a horde in Crusader Kings. So with that said, I went ahead and loaded up Crusader Kings 2 in the earliest start date and proceeded to locate the small Turkish Khan that had big dreams. Editing Lemon Cake here. Hello, you may be wondering why they didn't do this in the Crusader Kings 3 Horde DLC, since that quite literally just released, was then broken by Paradox and then fixed again. So yay, Horde DLC. This run took a while, and hence it's actually started before they even announced the CK3 Horde DLC, so that's a bit awkward. Anyway, the CK3 Khan is also very cringe, I find. He just kind of like politely asks everyone to please join him, or I won't tax you too much. Yeah, no, real Khans don't do that. They just burn everything to the ground like a real Khan, you know, for grazing land, to spread their religion and culture to the world. Anyway, I guess we'll have your attention. Like and really appreciate it after all, and a subscription would be amazing. We're almost at 54k. Anyway, yeah, enough self-shitting, and this is a little explanation. Let's pop into the game. Right, so here we are in Crusader Kings 2. I've actually kind of unpaused. I've done 2 days now. I've renamed my dynasty to become the Osmanoglus. Here is me, Kagan Kapagan of the Osmanoglu Khanate. I've renamed my Khanate. This is me. My plan is I need to go conquer the world. And what I want to do is I want to convert every single province into Tengri and make every single province Turkish. And the way I'll do that is when I burn all the holdings in a province, I culture convert the province and religiously convert the province automatically. So yeah, that's basically the plan. I would also like to go ahead and reform Tengri to become the moral head of the Tengri religion. And while I'm doing all that, also I kind of want to get rid of every other holding. So even cities like this city that starts here, I should probably go revoke that title. Yeah, see, he'll do it, although the council votes no. And then I'll burn that to the ground and I'll be happy. So that's the plan. Burn the world entirely down to the ground. Conquer the entire thing. One culture, one religion it. And also while I'm here, it'll be great. Doesn't have to be this lifetime, but I'd like to become immortal. Just for the EU4 conversion run to have an immortal guy. I think that's cool. So I think that's a pretty reasonable campaign goal. I reckon if we can get this done before 1066, I'll be pretty happy, but I won't be going to anything too crazy or too fast. I would like to also avoid truce breaking, although I will allow myself to plot to kill and kill people to reset truces. So that's the plan. Right, I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, the world isn't that big. I think we should get going then. Right, so see you when I'm done. Alright, here we are. We're in 10009. That is going to be 240 years since the campaign started. Just a bit over because we were also in July. We've migrated a bit since our initial placement here, although we've rebuilt, well, we've built the temple, but guess that replaced the city. More specifically, of course, because we built all the Tengri holy sites. But as you can see, we've completed our run. For the most part here, everything is Turkish, everything is, as you can see, Tengri. We have reformed Tengri ourselves as the head. And as you may notice, we are also sitting on a 0 score. That's because this is actually our starting character. I was very fortunate to achieve the immortality event chain on this guy. Now, I did say earlier that we're all full Tengri here. That is not quite true. I haven't actually finished the One Culture, One Faith run yet. I've just finished mopping up England here, so there's still a couple holdings left to burn down. But that's in progress, and that will be done. So, yeah, nothing to worry about there. Those are all on fire and should be resolved soon enough. Yeah, that's about it. That's that campaign part done. So just have to wait, basically, for those to keep burning down. Another thing I've also realized, which is kind of cool, is because we have the Jeu drift set to default, if we take a look at the kingdoms and everything, that's still all fine. But if we take a look at empires, I've de jure drift, well, I legally own all of this land as legally mine now, so I think that's kind of cool. So I'm probably going to do is when I've finished burning everything to the ground, I'm going to AFK the game, basically, until I de jure drift everything into me, because I would like to also de jure own everything. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, that's it. That's the full world conquest done. And this includes, despite the fact there are still provinces that need to be burned down, so there's still some Anglo-Saxon Catholics running around and stuff like that. every single independent, or sorry, every single non-independent realm is gone. If we check the ledger, we'll see that that's Desmenene, and we have our realm, and religions and all that, but no, more specifically, if we go to my direct vassals, there's one, all vassals in my realm, and then if I look at independent states, there's just me. I'm the only independent state. I do have 1.8 million gold in the bank as well. I hope we can get that to 2 million, and I guess I might, if I can be bothered, go build some monuments, because there's a couple that would be nice to build and stuff, but there we go. Yeah, that's about that. I did build a great harbor, because I just wanted to see how much I could stack the income on a trade post. The answer is a lot. So there it is, the Grand Trade Harbor in Antioch. My capital is here in Alexandria. I built everything here. The exception being is, of course, right at the bottom I didn't build the elephant camp because I'm not in the jungle, but I have a camel breeder. My armies are 100% horse archers. I have 60,000 of them. Pretty good. And I guess I forgot to dismiss these boats, but I can afford it. It's fine. So yeah, small issue. I have a couple prisoners. But my plan for that is I'm going to just kind of let them die of old age because I can't be bothered to deal with them. And I've killed a couple people. Don't worry about it. I think if the people die in my prisons, I get kill credit. We'll see. And I'm going to still just spend my quote-unquote retirement here just looting people as part of the societies, because I am max level hero. And I've gone on quite a few adventures now. I've got the Immortal Blood Chain, and I've done 2 hero bloodline quests. I think I can get a 3rd one down. In like 70 years, I can go on the 3rd one, so that'll be neat. Yeah, that's about that. I think that's a pretty decent summary, so I'm gonna get back to burning down the last vestiges of civilization in England. Rather ironic placement, of course, and, you know, once I'm done with that, and once I've de jure drifted the rest of the world, I'll probably, because I'm not really happy about this whole power sharing arrangement I've got going. See, I've got one vassal that I've kind of given all of my other land to for Desmenene control, because it's relatively easier when it's this way. You know, you just have the one guy. You can just give everything you need to him. If we look under our direct vassals, as you can see, he does actually own most of the world. Not a big fan of that, so I'm going to go kill him and, like, absorb the clan. It's going to cause a lot of revolts, but only when I'm on pause. So I think that'll be my final act, as it were. Right, yes, yeah, so I'm gonna go do that things, and I'll catch you in a bit. Right, here we are in 11:15. Yeah, it took a while. It's a bit awkward because it did take a while to finally finish burning and then de jure drift everything into me. But I do also, as you can see on the Empire map mode, own every single empire legally. So if anyone ever asks you what the Kingdom of Pomerania belongs to, it's me. It's mine. I'm not giving it back. There are no de jure empires, there's no Byzantine Empire, there's no England, there's no nothing, it's all mine. I'm not sharing. Speaking of sharing, of course, I did also now directly own everything. Me, it's mine. Not sharing. Speaking of, actually, you'll see that I have a small truce here with the Grand Master of the, I believe these were the Assassins. Yeah, unfortunately they event spawned. Very terrible idea. I had to immediately remove them from the face of the earth. But they are technically around. It's an off-map title. They have a claim, but otherwise, like, yeah, that's why these guys had to be tactically deployed from the capital to put an end to that. I am still, of course, the greatest person that's ever lived and ever will live. Murdered everything. This is my 3rd time having cancer. I've got cancer twice before, and I asked for a radical treatment to fix it. First time I lost an eye. Second time I lost a leg to it. 3rd time I got cancer, but I decided, you know what, I can't be bothered to treat it. I'm just going to tank the cancer, and that's what I've been doing. So there we go. Otherwise, I've also maxed out my manpower and then some, because I went to my non-clan map mode. On here, I've burned all of my renown, because I can convert 150 renown into Corp the Steps, and I had around 100 and... I think I had 750k renown, give or take, I burnt, or it might have been 75k renown. Either way, converted it all into population and manpower. So that's neat, just to make number go up. I did the final 3rd adventure. I think I've killed around 10 bears with this character in hand-to-hand combat. And while I didn't manage to hit 9,000 kills for the ultimate, it's over 9,000, I do think 7,659 kills is pretty respectable, considering this is all in, like, personal kills. This isn't just me generically burning down a city that had a population of 7,659 people. No, these are people I individually, personally killed. Oh, also, you may be wondering how I killed my daughter. That was an accident. I am also a werewolf, because Crusader Kings 2. Yeah, see, I'm a werewolf. So I did a werewolf and killed my daughter. That was awkward, perhaps the best of us. Also, if we take a look at Glitterhoof here, who I did, of course, get. As you can see, it is former lover. I did manage to seduce Glitterhoof, because it is a she. However, Glitterhoof did break up with me, which is very sad. Please take me back, Glitterhoof. I promise I'll stop. I won't care about the cats more than I care about you. Yes, I'm also, by the way, this absolute great Mongol Khan. That is Khan of all Khans of all time that conquered and turned down, burned down the entire world. Does have some guard dogs, but also I'm really into cats. I've surrounded myself with cats in my palace, so I'm just kind of vibing there. Lost count of the amount of wives. I haven't even done divorce meta. No, they just kind of all died of old age. Mainly married just to get rid of the pop-up that I'm unmarried, because that was a bit annoying. And also, just in case any of them, died, it would have been a bit awkward. Well, sorry, if I died, I would have hated for the campaign to end without an heir. And the reason that my wife is, of course, a close member of my dynasty is because she's actually a Chinese princess. You may be wondering why the Turkish Tengri person is a Chinese princess. Reasonable question, honestly, very reasonable question. The answer is, of course, very simple. I did invade China earlier and put a guy on the throne from my dynasty. I mean, it's a bit unrelated now because it's a kingsman whose father, whose mother, whose father, whose father, whose father, whose father, whose father, whose father, whose father was my grandson, who was my son, who I shoved onto the throne of China. So they kind of had that going for a while. But there we go. Yeah, no, so that's that. I think I lost count of the amount of grandsons that were going on with that. But yeah, I also do have my throne on the Chinese throne. So they've been doing things. That's neat. I did build some monuments because I was bored. So I saw where Kathmandu was because they have Mount Everest there. So I started playing Dwarf Fortress. I started building a big underground city. So that's neat. Oh, actually, it is finished. I can upgrade it. That's cool. Anyway, I also built a garden here in Kherson, or Cherson. This is a reference to Sofievka Garden. Very obscure, but there you go. If you happen to know it, I guess congratulations. And I also built a statue to Glitterhoof. I was hoping Glitterhoof would take me back if I built a statue. So there's a statue to Glitterhoof here. Yeah, look, there's even maybe the horse graveyard made him not love me anymore. I'll get rid of the horse graveyard. Take me back, please. We'll work it out. It'll be different. Anyway, yeah, that's about that. So I've built a garden. I've built a horse statue, and yeah, I've kind of owned the world now. It's mine legally as well. This all de jure drifted into me. Everything apart from those temples and my capital is burned down to the ground. So far, so good. Oh yeah, did you also know that every time you burn down a holding, you gain 5 random tech points? Yeah, didn't manage to finish the tech tree. Not I could really be bothered, but basically finished the tech tree very ahead of time. Most of these techs are pretty useless to me. Oh wow, the city vassals like me. Well, what's a city? Yeah, it's a bit awkward, and also legalism literally does nothing for me at later levels. But anyway, I digress. That was the campaign. I believe we're pretty much done now. Again, I do own everything. It is Tengri. It is Turkish. Don't think there's much more else to say here. Oh, there is one thing actually, before I do forget, is that when you are burning down the world, you get very, intimate with it. You get to know every single province as you go through with it, and you set fire to it. And indeed, when there's a couple of things that I've noticed that were quite cool. For example, these provinces here are tiny, right? This would be an incredible place to build an empire over, because you basically just are living off a small rock. That'd be really cool. And especially in India, some of these provinces are absolutely tiny. Like here in Bidar, Manded. The province density in India is incredible. Look at these ones. But I think that's meant to represent population. Because, for example, in Crusader Kings 3, the HRE tends to dominate France. But historically, the HRE and France had pretty comparable populations. And that's kind of carried over, because if you look at the province density in France here, it's incredible. That you just have so much more provinces in the same area that Germany kind of has a similar province count despite being bigger. And I think that's kind of a good population representation by this province density count, which means the HRE doesn't always inherently dominate France. And that's kind of neat, and that was cool to see. Spain as well, to be clear, is also very, very densely populated with provinces. The province count here is... some of them are pretty big, like this one here, but, it's pretty dense. It's pretty dense. And Italy especially is just, my god, there's so many provinces. It's incredible. But I think the main one that I really want to say in terms of provinces that was burning down the world is Paradox Interactive. What is the Vladimir Volonsky province? What is the Vladimir Volonsky doing here? What is this province? That's a name. Is this a modern day politics reference in my video game? So I decided to... the issue is as well, due to current day politics, it's a bit hard to Google this province name, because it comes up with certain current modern day politicians, so I will say. But What is this province? Anyone from Vladimir Volonsky watching the video right now? Do you know? What is this province name? Very weird. Anyway, there's just an odd one out that really popped out to me. Because I had a literal double take when I burnt Vladimir Volonsky down to the ground. Like, what is this name? I promise I haven't changed it. But there we go. Yeah, no, that's about that. Trying to think of what else to say. But yeah, no, it's all Turkish. It's all Tengri. I reckon we're good to go towards EU4. So let's get the converters open. Let's get that going and pop into the EU4 game. So here we are in EU4. This is the conversion time. Now, as some of you may have observed, I didn't bother AFK in an extra like 300 years. I'll be honest, I can't be bothered. So I guess the lore description is I built my dwarf fortress city in Kathmandu, and when it finished, I went to the top of it and took a look around and realized, oh, there's still like a world left to go conquer. So yeah, I'm gonna wake up and time to go conquer the rest of the world now in EU4 and burn it down, because of course I'm still going for the one culture, one faith grind set. There is, however, a small little issue with the converter. So first of all, if we take a look at the culture, so I'm not using the official Paradox one, because that was depreciated and had a lot more issues, but they did populate it with some Kazan, Turkmeni, and Uzbek cultures, because I believe of the Turkish culture group that I'm in. So I'm thinking, do I remove those, or do I have to culture convert those, like, in person? I wasn't going to say leave it up to you, but I'll think about it. I'm not particularly sure. I would still like to go for the one culture, one faith run, as it were, for this. Otherwise, for the rest of it, yeah, there's the Zhou Empire that I have my guy on the dynasty of. Osmanoglu, I am, of course, also Osmanoglu. That brings us to the second point. The converter made me a 1-3-4, and I'm not going to lie. Making me a anything but 6 in military is just an insult. So I said, if any person in the world deserves to be a 6-6-6, then the immortal god emperor of the August Khanate, it's probably him. I think he is the guy. So I made myself 666 because I can, and gave myself some nifty traits as part of that. I am, of course, also mortal and pretty old. So yeah, that's that. I also thought, because I just started as a normal steppy horde, that if I'm not allowed to claim the Mongol Khanate, then I don't know who is, so I gave myself the Mongol Tier 1 government reform as well. I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that fact. But yeah, let's load into the game. I think the first thing you're going to realize, of course, is that none of my land is stated or particularly good. Because yes, while I do have almost 5,000 development at start, well, if we actually consider the development map mode, yeah, it's all 3 dev. You can tell where I built my previous temples, but I think one of the first things I'll do in universe, in character, is I'm going to burn those temples to the ground. That's it. No more worshipping temples. You worship me now. The slight problem is the Crimea temple is 3 tack, so we're going to have to burn that down twice, and then come back to that in 1464 to burn it down again. On the topic of burning things down, we will probably want to integrate Galatia back in, which is going to make Constantinople 7 development, so that's going to also take us a while to burn down. The plan is 3 dev the entire world, and eventually I will have to, and I'm going to use TI for this real quick, I would like to, it's going to be a bit more painful for me, but on the subcontinent you can see this is on the continent Oceania, colonize this province here, and then when I've colonized it, I'll be able to then move my capital into the New World, because I'll have less than 50% of my total development, I hope, on the continent of Oceania. So yeah, I'll be able to move my capital to the New World, and go and rule the world from the New World. I've actually picked out a province for my new capital, that I would know about it, but it's going to be this province here in Alabama. It's a farmland grain, and I think that's going to be a nice roleplay place for me to build my new great Khanate of glorious capitals, while everything else is reduced down to 3 development. Mostly because I think an Alabama world population would be really, really funny in Victorious 3. And that will indeed be the next step of the conversion of this mega campaign, once I've done a full core world conquest, true one tag, one culture, one faith. And yeah, everyone is reformed Tengri, everyone is, apart from the aforementioned Kazakhs, Turkmenis, and Uzbeks here, Turkish. So yeah, that's about that. Have the rest of the world to conquer. Not that much in Africa, thankfully. A lot of the good part of Africa is stuff I already have and already burnt down. This might be a bit of an issue. There's like a bit of dev here, but nothing too major. And the main opposition will ironically, of course, be Zhou and Mongolia and like this bit of land, and I guess Japan will be a bit annoying. Otherwise, there's not really anyone that can fight back at this point, so this should be a relatively easy, pretty simple world conquest as it stands from this point onwards. The nice, thankfully, part of this setup as well is, of course, that Zhou has the Mandate of Heaven, and they do start bordering me, which means they immediately get Nomadic Frontier, so, yep. Took them a while to realize it, but yeah, they're going to basically internally collapse, so I should probably hurry up and get there so I can use the attack mandate of Heaven CB to eat very quickly from them. But there we go, that's kind of the plan there. Otherwise, the buildings I built earlier are actually the great projects that translated. For example, the Grand Underground City can get some local trade power. And Lhasa. Thank you, Paradox, very cool. Actually, also Paradox. But I kind of bring this up because there's actually a couple translated monuments that are really strong. Like the House of Wisdom I can now build, which is 5% tech cost, 10% idea cost, which is really, really nice. And, well, remember I built a statue to Glitterhoof? It's now called the Paris statue. And at max level, it gives me 15 cav combat ability and minus 20 cav cost, as well as the yearly prestige. This is really good. I'm absolutely going to build the Paris statue. Thank God for Glitterhoof. But, yep, because I am amazing, I also did decide to make myself a Legendary Conqueror and Iron Crowned. And you may be wondering, why am I Iron Crowned? I even have the Iron Crown of Lombardy. And the answer is, here it is, the Iron Crown of Lombardy. I told you, it's mine. I have it. I also have the Imperial Diadem. I took that from the Constantinople person. And this bracelet thing. Can't put it on, though. And also the Ark of the Covenant. And also the 4-Gear Crown. Look, I've got a lot of things. Very Jesus-related things, actually. Because, you know, the Iron Crown of Lombardy, I've got that. But I've also got his foreskin. My foreskin. You can't touch Jesus' foreskin. This is mine now. And also St. John's finger. I'm not giving it back. Yeah, I picked up a lot of these, you know... I picked up a lot of these, should we say, artifacts. Like the Ark of the Covenant, of course, because turns out if you do just capture everyone and put them in your prisons, eventually they die and you inherit all their artifacts. So, yeah, that's that. I did have the Axe of Perun, for example, as well. Unfortunately, I did lose the Axe of Perun in a fire. Make that what you will, one of those random events, and I couldn't be bothered to get it back, because I couldn't use it. So, yeah, that's that. Yeah. Neat stuff. Have the max level, you know, weapons and artifacts all set up, you know, why wouldn't you? My actual treasury build, you know, effective artifact is pretty insane. I'm getting 6 martial, 4 intrigue, 5 diplomacy, 5 stewardship, 3 learning, and a whole host of other modifiers. It's frankly stupid and incredible. And yeah, of course, despite having cancer, I have over 300 personal combat skills, because I've been in 162 duels, or some a werewolf, and I've been like in 14 renowned duelist effects things. That's Jesus Christ. The sex appeal on this guy is through the roof, by the way. Plus 70 sex appeal. Like, if you are a woman or in any way attracted to me, you just immediately love me unconditionally. It's incredible. But yeah, no, I do get to be Iron Crowned, because I have not just the Iron Crown of Lombardy, but I have all the crowns. They're all mine. I'm not giving them back. My crown. Look, I even have Jesus' crown. Look, I have a lot of Jesus things, okay? This Jesus guy seemed very popular. But yeah, no, I even have Jesus' crown. You can't say I'm not Iron Crowned. I have all of the crowns. So yeah, that's how I'm justifying Iron Crowned, and that's how I'm justifying Legendary Conqueror. Because if I'm not a Legendary Conqueror, I don't know who is. And of course, I'm very immortal. So yeah, that's kind of that. I think the plan for this campaign is relatively simple. Do the one culture, do the one faith. What I would say is I would like to mod in a special decision, just for me, where I'll be able to move my capital, quote-unquote, to move all of my manpower development out of Alexandria into, well, more specifically, into the... into my new capital here in Alabama, where I'm planning to set up shop, because that'd be cool. So if I could just kind of like move the development, because I'd hate to release the provinces and burn it down to the ground just to get rid of this development, because I do want to get 3 dev everywhere, and that's kind of what I'll be forced to do if I don't. So I'll probably set up a custom decision on that kind of nature to move my capital, including all the capital development. But yeah, I would like to also potentially mod in a decision where I can, any province that I own that is not 3 development, I can press a decision to then like burn it down, where even if I have a core on it, I can basically raise the province. I think that'd be neat, because if you take a look at something like the zoo here, if I were to just annex them, so there we go, I annex them to the console, obviously, and I go to a province that's hopefully pretty developed, like say here Beijing, and I burn it to the ground, as you can see, yes, I burn it to the ground, but it still has development, and I can't raise it for another 20 years. Very annoying. And I would like to obviously keep raising until it's down to like 0 development. Not even in a way that I need the monarch points, just, you know, malicious raising down to 3 dev to send a message. I think that's the play, really. So yeah, I'll probably mod in some kind of decision to let me do that. Or at least that's the plan. I will also say I think the converter is slightly messed up, even though this is the community one that gets updated. Reform Tengri, if they are, you know, looking with Tengri, they get minus 10 yearly army tradition K. This should probably be minus 1. Just a heads up to all the any converter devs if they happen to see this video. Otherwise, I think I'll just go Vidrianagar because there's a bunch of monuments I want to use from that religion group. Yeah, that's really about it. Otherwise, yeah, big horde, big burn to the ground, get everything down to 3 and then spend until 1821 deving Alabama to the absolute moon, because that'd be funny. I think that's a pretty reasonable EU4 campaign goal. If you have anything else that would be cool or almost in character for this guy, then please do let me know. And before you say, oh, I'm tryharding by making this a one culture, one religion run, no, I'm role-playing. Anyway, unfortunately, with that all said, that is going to be all the time I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to all my channel members, especially Ark, Soda, W Haste, Solemon, Sal72, Lord Zendikar, Nick Fassbender, Nanhatan, Nick Huss, The Awesome Rabbit, Let's Throw Gaming, Groundmel Flavia, Connor, Andrea Zalberg, Decky, Sov, Mobkiller, Anthony35, AC Napper, Florus Leader, Zerkis, Mr. Goomshock, Yukata, Danray, Arthur Tan, Jack, and Marvy.